So let's talk about really leveling up our coding game. If you've been hearing all this buzz about AI-powered development, but you're not quite sure where to jump in, you are in exactly the right place. For the next few minutes, just think of me as your senior dev, and we're going to walk through step by step how to make these new AI coding agents your absolute most powerful tool.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You're staring at a problem, it's late, and you just wish you could grab a senior dev for 5 minutes to get their take on it, or maybe just help you map out some complex feature. Well, that exact feeling, that's the problem these new AI coding agents are designed to solve.
So what are we really talking about here? Look, this is so much more than a fancy autocomplete. A real coding agent is an AI assistant that lives right there with you, in your terminal. It doesn't just spit out code. It helps you think, it helps you plan, and it automates all the boring, repetitive parts of your job. Let's actually see what this looks like in a typical day.
Every single great day of coding starts with a solid morning routine. Before you even look at your first ticket, you've got to make sure your tools are warmed up and ready to go. So let's run through that pre-flight check.
Okay, this one is absolutely non-negotiable. Seriously, the very first command you need to burn into your muscle memory is /doctor. Think of it like this. Every morning you're asking your agent, hey, you feeling good today? Is our whole environment healthy? It'll save you so many headaches later.
And the report you get back isn't just some thumbs up, thumbs down. No, it proactively scans for all the usual suspects, little misconfigurations in your local setup, API connection problems, or just weird environment quirks. Catching this stuff early, that means you're not going to waste your afternoon chasing some bizarre bug that had nothing to do with your code.
So let's lock this in. This is your new morning ritual. It's just 3 easy steps. First, status, just to see if all the main services are up. Second, doctor, to do that deep dive diagnostic we just talked about. And third, start with a fresh slate. This simple little routine is going to make your days so much more predictable and honestly, way more productive.
All right, our environment is good to go. We've got our coffee. Now it's time to actually pull in a task and get to work. And this is where the agent really shifts from being just a utility to being a true partner in your code.
I absolutely love this quote because it gets right to the core of what separates a junior dev from a senior dev. It's not about how fast you type, it's about how well you can think through a problem. And well, your AI agent is an incredible tool for helping you structure that thinking process.
And that brings us to my favorite command, /plan. Before you ask the agent to write even one line of code, use /plan to just describe your goal in plain English. The agent will work with you to break that big, scary feature down into a logical, step-by-step plan. It forces you to think before you code, which is always a good thing.
Now, here's a pro tip. You've got to choose the right brain for the job. Think of it like this. For that high-level, complex planning, or for tackling a really thorny architectural problem, you want the master strategist, a model like Claude Opus. But for the day-to-day work, cranking out boilerplate code or writing standard functions, a faster, more efficient model like Claude Sonnet is your go-to workhorse. Using the right tool for the task is key to managing both your speed and your costs.
Okay, so we've planned our work. We're in the zone. We're executing. Now let's talk about kicking things into the next gear. This is where we go from just using the agent to actually automating our workflows with it.
Now, to really get automation, you need to understand this idea called the agentic loop. It sounds a little technical, but it's really simple. The agent gets a goal, it thinks about the steps, it uses its tools, like the terminal or the file system, and then it produces an output. And it just keeps repeating that cycle until the job is done. This loop is the engine that drives all the cool automation.
And here's how you can put that loop to work for you. Just think of a task you do all the time. Maybe it's creating a new React component with all the boilerplate files and imports. You can write a little script for that, register it as a sub-agent, and then just tell your main agent to run it. Boom, you've just automated away one of the most boring parts of your job.
Now, hooks take this even further. Hooks are basically automatic triggers for certain events. So, for example, you could set up a session start hook that automatically runs your environment setup script every single time you begin, or maybe a session end hook that automatically runs all your tests before you commit. It's all about building that efficiency right into your workflow. All right, it's been a super productive day. But, with great power comes great responsibility. As we start to wrap up, we've got to talk about the essential housekeeping. That's managing memory, keeping an eye on cost, and, of course, security.
So the agent's memory, what we call context, is its most valuable resource. It's also the main thing that drives cost, so you have to manage it. Every so often, check your usage with /context. If it's getting a little crowded with old stuff, just use /compact, and the agent will intelligently summarize it for you.
And if you're about to switch to a totally different task, just type /clear and start fresh.
And speaking of cost, the last thing you want is a surprise on your bill at the end of the month. The cost command is your friend here. It gives you a super clear, visual breakdown of exactly how many tokens you're using and with which model. Keep an eye on this. It really helps you make smart decisions about when to use the pricier Opus versus the more economical Sonnet.
And last but not least, security. Your agent can run commands on your machine, so you have to be in control. The confirm mode should be your default setting. It makes you manually approve any action the agent wants to take. Only use auto mode for scripts that you wrote and you trust completely. And if you're just looking at an unfamiliar code base, flip it into read-only mode for total peace of mind.
You know, learning to use an AI agent isn't something you do once. It's a journey. Everything we've covered today is really just the starting point. The real magic happens when you commit to keep learning and you tap into the amazing community that's growing around these tools.
And here's what that journey might look like. In your first week, just get really comfortable with the basic session commands. By your first month, challenge yourself to build your first simple sub-agent. Fast forward 6 months, and you can start playing with the Machine Control Protocol, or MCP, which lets your agent talk to other tools. And a year from now, you could be designing your own complex multi-agent systems. Just remember, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
And the best part is, you don't have to walk this path alone. The community is honestly your greatest resource. Check out the official roadmaps to see what's coming, dive into the GitHub repos to see how it all works, and definitely join the Discord channels to ask questions and get help in real time. That's where the best learning really happens.
And as you get more comfortable, you can start giving your agent superpowers with plugins. The community is building this incredible ecosystem of tools using that machine control protocol we mentioned. This lets your agent safely talk to all sorts of other services and APIs, which just dramatically expands what it can do for you.
So, that brings us to the end. We've walked through a whole day, from that crucial morning setup, through planning and coding, all the way to end-of-day best practices and your path to mastery. You've got the roadmap. So really, the only question left for you is, what's the first tedious, boring part of your job that you're going to automate away?